So your speakers today will be myself. I'm the founder and CEO of Trust IT Services, and we coordinate ICT Footprint. And with me to present today's first webinar is Frederic Croissant, who's the manager at Deloitte Sustainability. Now, what we have for you is a coordination support action called ICTFOOTPRINT.eu. We kicked off in February 2016 of this year. We're a 36-month duration project, and what we want to do is to be the European hub to find out everything you need to know about your ICT carbon footprint. Now, as the title shows, today's webinar is the first of 12. The next one is coming up around September 2016, and it's on how energy efficiency can lead your business growth. Joining me within our consortium are three partners. Myself, Trust IT, the coordinator. We run two SMEs, and we're an ICT-intensive SME, and we're particularly concerned about these growing concerns around ICT and energy. With us is Deloitte Sustainability. They're based in Paris, and they deal with life cycle assessments and delivering studies around ICT methodologies, which is something that we will focus on and we'll talk about in a short while. And our growing network of cities is supported by us by Eurocities based out in Europe that have encompassed all EU cities to help capitalize on what we want to discuss today. So, what is it? I think I've wrapped it up previously on who we are and what we're trying to do. In the past, a lot of work was done on specific ICT methodologies. What this project is aiming to do is to actually deliver a set of basic services that these ICT methodologies can be incorporated to support businesses and, in particular, small to medium-sized enterprises to help them become more aware of how to reduce their carbon footprint. We're supported by an extremely distinguished external advisory group. In fact, some of you on the call, hopefully today, who will be supporting us through the 36 months and providing timely insights and everything that concerns clearly the technologies and support around ICT footprint. So, who should be interested in ICT footprint? As we've said, if you're a small to medium-sized enterprise, you're a company that has a lot of work within the ICT sector, or you deliver ICT solutions. ICT suppliers, and we'll tell you why these are important shortly. If you're part of public administrations, and also SDOs, standard organizations. But simply, even if you're just interested in lowering your carbon footprint. Now, we're not sure whether you're aware of this, but ICT, in the electricity consumption in Europe, up to 10% of it is related to the ICT sector, which is a huge amount. And then, interestingly enough, the highest percentage of this 10% goes onto your PCs and monitors, which is something all businesses clearly have. 24 around mobile and telecommunications, 23 on data, and 13 on other energy-intensive processes. Now, this has a huge impact, clearly, on your business. So, what can an energy efficiency strategy do for me? Within ICT footprint, what we want to try and do is to decrease the production's energy impact and clearly support your organization's energy impact and help you decrease your costs with a total of providing 15% on savings in your global emissions by 2020. We talked about ICT methodologies earlier, and this is an area where Deloitte specifically has worked significantly on, and what we will do is turn some basic services, turn the ICT methodologies into a set of basic services that our stakeholders that we mentioned earlier on can go onto ICT footprint, make and fill out a small survey and actually understand how they can be supported through their energy efficiency strategy. Now with that, I'm going to pass the floor to Frederick from Deloitte Sustainability, who will be zooming in more closely onto these ICT methodologies. So over to you, Frederick.
Thank you, Silvana. So regarding the ICT methodologies, we did a first work on identifying existing methodologies, and what comes from this first work was that there is a lot of a wide offer of methodologies for different usage, for different sectors and different activities. But when it comes to those methodologies, there is always a methodology for your specific activity in the ICT sector. Silvana, I can't see the slides with the methodologies.
Yes, Frederick, just 1 second. It's coming up now. If perhaps we can just...
Okay. Yeah, sorry, I skipped this first element. So as Silvana was saying, we did a little survey on the potential barriers and what are the needs for SMEs regarding those methodologies for carbon and energy footprint. And the main challenges that have been reported for SMEs during this survey was first the lack of time and resources to implement those methodologies internally, then the lack of incentive from the public sector to implement the methodologies and to use them, then the lack of tangible benefits. It's not clear how those methodologies can benefit for companies and SMEs of the ICT sector, and of course a lack of knowledge on those methodologies. As I was saying earlier, there is a wide offer of methodologies, and it's sometimes difficult to get the basic knowledge on those methodologies and to implement them with this necessary basic knowledge. So the answer that we propose to bring with the ICT footprint project is to bring you simplicity, useful and intuitive tools to implement those methodologies, demonstrate the business value of using carbon footprint and energy footprint methodologies, and of course to raise awareness on those methodologies. Regarding the work we've done on identifying those methodologies, there is, as I was saying earlier, a wide range of existing methodologies that have been developed, for example, by standard developing organizations, SDOs, and also from private initiatives. And whatever your ICT-related activity or business, there is at least one methodology that exists to measure and improve your carbon and energy footprint. For example, for goods, there are a lot of initiatives that allows you to measure your environmental impact and carbon, and specifically carbon and energy footprint. If we consider goods, there are a lot of what we call product category rules and environmental product declaration initiatives that allows you to measure the environmental impact of your products, of ICT products, and to communicate on those impacts. But there are also more specific GHG emission related methodologies, such as the GHG protocol for the ICT sector, that allows to measure the carbon footprint of different components, whether it is hardware, software, data center activities, etc. Or even you can use several methodology to have a modular approach and get the full GHG emission of the value chain of a service, for example. Regarding services, there are also other methodologies such as the green grid, more specifically based or turned on data center activities. But we have also methodologies for organization and projects that allow to measure and communicate on the carbon footprint and, let's say, environmental impact of an organization or a project. And there are also a methodology from the ITU that allows to measure the environmental impact on the carbon footprint of cities related to the ICT activities. So there is a prolific offer of different methodology, and our main goal in the ICT Footprint project is to make you to bring you the basic knowledge on each of those methodologies, and of course to promote those methodologies regarding your needs. So how can we help you with this project? First, by helping you understand the basic knowledge of each methodology, using the guide, documentation, best practices, and updates of those methodology. In our website, we will provide you with those basic information on those methodologies. We can offer you a clear and uniform information to help you to understand this complexity that we showed you earlier on the diagram. Then we will provide you with pragmatic solution. The first one is a help desk in 5 languages. So the languages we will provide will be in French, German, Italian, Spanish, and English, of course. And with this help desk, we will bring you a continuous support to better understand and implement these methodologies. We will also provide you a self-assessment tool. The idea is to provide on some business case an easy self-assessment tool that will allow you to test. So to learn by acting with this tool the basics of the methodologies. And we will also provide you on the website of the project a business-to-business marketplace that we will describe you further later. So we will also the idea of the project is also to lead you to some competitive advantages. For example, to propose you to participate to dedicated events for supplier and ICT intensive organization. We will participate to almost 18 events, during which we want to show you the solution that is provided to the European, but not only the European audience, fostering this way the adoption, but also the connection with other stakeholders like public authorities and SDOs. So the project indeed aims to create a strong link between public authorities and actors of the ICT sector in order to be the fertile ground for connected, complete policy frameworks.
Okay, thank you, Frederica. I'll take over just briefly now. Thank you. So, as you can see here, we basically want you to join our community. We want you to start being familiar with what's going on the ICTFootprint.eu website, but we want to turn it into something that's sustainable, that's providing a service, and that's useful for the stakeholders that we mentioned at the beginning of the webinar. So we talked about this marketplace. So we want to help in pragmatic terms to ICT solution providers that they can match what they're actually provisioning with the right community of buyers. So we're going to go through a whole series of selection criteria and have the suppliers and buyers actually available on the marketplace. So if I can give you an example, I'm a company and I work a lot in the cloud. So to optimize the utilization of my computing resources with energy efficient mechanisms and to have a better utilization of my hardware, I'll run my applications on servers, but perhaps have them running on premises where only I'm using up to about 5 to 10% of server utilization. So I can move to the cloud, which would then increase my server utilization. This is a nice example of how a company is being energy efficient. And this is the type of example we'd like to offer under the part of the success stories, is the last point, where you can actually share what you're doing from a supply side or from the demand side of what you actually need, and we'll put these up as actual best practice or success stories on ICTFootprint.eu. The help desk clearly is an aspect which currently doesn't exist. If I don't know enough about how I can make savings, I don't know where I can go to, or we'd like to think that ICT Footprint can provide the right answers. And then, as Frederick described, that very complex scenario on a huge work that's been done on methodologies in the past, what we aim to do is to actually transfer that into a tool service for people that then can punch in specific criteria and understand the carbon footprint for their business. So, if we continue, what is the marketplace? If you go online now, what you would be able to find at the moment are two options. One is that you can register immediately as a seller. Okay, you can publish and you can showcase all your sustainable products and services. Now, if we do our job properly and try and maximize a superb community around Europe, you as a potential seller would have access to quite a high number of potential buyers. And at the same time, then, you can also register as a buyer. And these, from our original list of stakeholders we said at the beginning, we have our ICT-intensive companies, SMEs, or public administrations, and we call them buyers, and who can find the right sustainable solution for your ICT needs. So, as a snapshot of what it looks like at the moment, we have 6 boxes, so you can identify yourself as a buyer or seller in either the hardware, software, connectivity sector, or data management. And this is where you would actually register yourselves as a buyer or a seller. And then we've introduced another 2 options on the marketplace as well. So all of those who advise or consult in the community on these issues will be showcased as well. So it could be a very nice business revenue for you, and you can showcase what you do and what you sell in terms of your consultancy services. And then we've introduced the part of certifications and other services according to that. If your organization needs to have some sort of ICT certification, we'd like to be able to offer an area where certified bodies can showcase themselves, and you, a buyer or seller, can then contact these certified bodies to obtain whatever certification you would need. Now, I'll finish with the supply, then I'll pass the floor to you, Frederick, if you like.
Yep.
So if you can see here what we've given, just a mini criteria. There's more information on the website. If you go there, we haven't listed everything on the slide deck now, but what you can do is register. Sorry, let me just see if this comes out. It's free, and it will always be free, which is not always a done deal, as we know. And this is important, especially as we're reaching out to the heart of the EU SMEs, the backbone of our economy. And so, in a nutshell, if you're a supplier on the B2B marketplace, we will showcase all your sustainable solutions. We'll publish any dedicated offer to particular buyers that you may have and answer directly to the buyer's request. So this is everything that's going to be happening in the coming months. Now, the marketplace goes live in July, so it's this month. So information, as I've said, is already up there, but we want to try and maximize efforts to already start populating with a very strong list of both suppliers and demand sides as soon as possible. Frederick, do you want to continue with this?
Yes. So as Silvana was explaining, so you can register as a supplier, and when you will be on the website for the registration part, you will be asked for minimum criteria to address to join the ICT footprint marketplace. For example, if you are a provider of goods, of ICT goods, you will have to propose goods that are more sustainable than, let's say, the average ones goods in your sector. For services, you will be requested to propose services which deliver carbon and energy savings to your clients, and you will be asked for a specific statement of your commitment for a sustainable approach in your company's mission and profile. The idea of those minimum criteria is to evaluate with minimum information your commitment to sustainable approach, sustainable products, goods, and services. And the idea is that if you are a European SME, as Silvana was saying at the beginning of the webinar, you have the perfect profile, because the webinar is the ICT Footprint project seeks to bring knowledge to SME and bring advantages to SMEs. But if you are also non-European or large companies of the ICT sector, you are welcome to the ICT Footprint marketplace and to register as a supplier also. So if you are an SME, the marketplace, the marketplace will bring you some advantages for some competitive advantages. So on the marketplace, you can publish your request for sustainable solution for your specific needs. So if you are looking for a specific solution, a specific goods, or a specific service, you will find a sustainable solution on the marketplace. And you will be able to search within the solution offered by various suppliers with the offer that will populate the marketplace. And you will also be able to find other testimony of, for example, testimony of good practices and savings that occurred when you are using more sustainable products or services. So if you have any questions on the energy footprint for business or on the methodologies or any of the items that we presented in this webinar, you can, of course, send us your request on the following email address. And if you want to understand how to start and be always updated of the newest information on the website, you can also register to the newsletter on the link showed on this slide.
Thank you, Frederick. I think I have more information. So to conclude the webinar, before we go over and ask a few of the questions that are coming in, please, if you have questions from those who are viewing, then please remember to put them up now. So you can see the series of social media extracts that we've indicated for you. I think in a nutshell, we want to basically be the European project, as we said, that deals with all ICT carbon footprint and ICT methodologies for organizations. We want people to think that ICT Footprint provides to its users and community a perspective and competitive edge over other companies who perhaps are not thinking about this clearly and should be. This is relevant. It's relevant today. It's going to be relevant tomorrow. So that's always a good thing. If you're not registered to any of those bullets that are listed on your viewing screen, then please do register. What's nice is this next phase coming in on the whole marketplace, as it's a pragmatic approach where we put you first. One of the questions that's come in has said, can I register my organization as both a buyer and a seller? And I think if Frederick doesn't have any objection, I think the answer to that is obviously yes. The criteria, the criteria clearly is an important one because we're sensitive to greenwashing, and it's very easy that all people say, yes, I'm very green, but we do want to be serious, and the organizations that are then promoted on the marketplace have to be seen as such. The marketplace that goes live in July, yes, that is the case. You can access this now already. Are there advantages in joining now? That's a very good question. Well, what comes to mind immediately is that you'll be one of the first of these organizations that can maximize your visibility to the community. Clearly, the more there are of you, the less visibility you will get. So the sooner the better, I think, would be my point, as we need to obviously step up daily our activities. The fact that we need to be visible in various selected countries around Europe. We have these 18 cafe events that we're organizing. Our first one needs to happen already this year. We already have a few actually planned, but this is a good opportunity also for our buyers and sellers on our marketplace who have something to show, want to get their message out there, and they can capitalize and use ICT Footprint as a platform. And if we think you're even more of a success story, then you can be physically present and available at some of these events that we're going to organize in these coming months. So I hope that answers some of your questions. As I told you before, we have an expert group of externals worldwide. We have a global list. You can find out who those people are on our expert area on ICTFootprint.eu, and what we're going to do is tap into their knowledge and expertise and have follow-up webinars where our content-rich speakers will also be delivering key insights on this topic in the coming months. Our next webinar should be scheduled already for September 2016. So please bear this in mind, and as soon as we have the date scheduled, we'll send this material and content of the webinar to you. If you think there's an interesting topic that we should cover related to what we're trying to do in ICT Footprint, if you think there's a success story we could even discuss briefly during a webinar and you'd like to personally deliver that, we'd be very happy to hear that too. So feel free to contact us on the links and here, but then in the slide before, the email address to get back to us on is contact@ICTFootprint.eu. Now, with that, I think, unless we have any other questions from the audience, we've concluded our webinar. We'd like to thank the viewers who have listened to us for the past 45 minutes. We do apologize again for the delay at the beginning, and we look forward to having you personally contact us or joining the various social media interest points and accesses that you have online. So on behalf of myself and Frederick, we'd like to thank you very much, and till the next time, thank you, everybody.
Thank you.